Hi everybody, I'm Kerry Cunningham. I'm a former SiriusDecisions and Forrester analyst, and I currently head up research and thought leadership at 6th Sense, which is pretty cool. Also, I'm your host for the Science of B2B podcast, the one you're listening to or watching or both right now. So today's episode is for every organization and everybody in them in marketing or sales who have leads and also have an ABM program. And what this is about is we're going to take on that double funnel nonsense, as I like to think of it. Before we get started, I want to thank you for tuning in again if you're a repeat offender. And if you're not a repeat offender, thanks for coming for the first time. Please do check out some of the earlier episodes, and particularly the first one, which kind of explains what we're up to here at the Science of B2B podcast. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Let's get right to it. A few years ago, sort of in response to the growing emphasis on account-based strategies, and I may flatter myself a bit by saying also in response to the introduction of the opportunity and buying group demand unit waterfall that we introduced at SiriusDecisions, a new idea arose that purported to be a compromise of the two, the double funnel. Lately, there's been more than the usual amount of discussion of it, so let's consider what's going on here. First, what is it? The double funnel is a concept whereby in your waterfall or funnel, you have two pathways to get to the first sales stage in the funnel. One pathway has the typical MQL, TQL, SQL. The other is account-based. Now, I won't go into account-based, why it's wrong, but the idea is that you have an account that is targeted, engaged on a particular solution, and you have a separate funnel for that. So that you have, instead of an MQL, you have an MQA and a TQA, etc. If you didn't know anything else, that might sound fine. It is not. But before going into why, let's look at the purported benefits of this double funnel. If you have an ABM practice applied to some of your account audience, and then you have a different go-to-market strategy for the remainder of your accounts, it can seem like it would make sense to use the lead funnel on part of your market where they aren't named accounts. And then if you have a specific list of accounts that you're setting goals on, that you focus investment on, then yeah, you should track how you're doing against those for sure. And then, so the logic goes, you keep your existing lead mechanisms in place for the rest. For those, we don't know which accounts are going to show up as a prospect, so no point in tracking that at the account level. If you do have a product where the buying committee is one or two people, then just go for it. I'll never say a word about that. In that situation, a lead is a very good signal of the buying committee's interest because that lead is the buying committee. This approach also allows organizations to keep their existing lead management processes in place while experimenting with new and probably largely manual set of processes for the account-based part of the market. So it feels safe. Now, we're not completely abandoning everything we know and marching out into this brave new ABM world completely. We're going to hedge our bets and make sure that we track our MQLs for this other part of the market. It's comfortable. We all know the lead-based waterfall. We all have lead gen and management processes. So why not keep that going since these are not ABM accounts? But none of those benefits address the problem that we have with the lead-based processes to begin with. And that is, they suck. They don't work. The failure rate is in the vicinity of 99% for almost everybody, and nothing anyone has ever done has improved it much. See an earlier episode we did on having a hole in her head. So trust me, my friends at SiriusDecisions and I tried like hell for a long time. They are still trying. But there's a reason everything you see from Forrester these days is about buying groups and opportunities. You can be less awful at lead conversion. You can't be good at it. There is no good at it for B2B purposes. And leads and the double funnel ignores the single most important fact of B2B buying, which is that B2B buying is done by groups of people working together. The demand unit waterfall was never about account-based marketing, even though it is for account-based marketing. The demand unit waterfall is about recognizing buying group signals. Those buying group signals represent selling opportunities, and that's what go through the demand unit waterfall and the B2B revenue waterfall. And the single most important insight you can have about a B2B organization that's in market is that there are multiple individuals from that company will emit signals that you can detect and help prioritize your marketing and sales efforts and your spend. Unless you sell deals where there's only one or two people involved, the most important thing you can do is notice when you have more than one lead from the same organization, more than one signal of any kind, social signals, intent signals, all of those signals. If a company is going to buy from you, it's extremely unlikely that they'll have one person coming to your website and that's it. They might not all make your magical MQL threshold, but that doesn't matter, as we've discussed in virtually every episode so far. You should absolutely do everything in your legal power to know which accounts are on your website anonymously as well. We've talked about that before. Nearly all of your web traffic is anonymous, 96% or so, and a healthy portion of that will be from accounts that are shopping you. Ignoring that at this point is just malpractice. So if you run a double funnel, with most of your business going through the leads MQL funnel, you will still fail to capitalize on nearly all of the signals that are available to you. If you're a marketer, you paid for the second, third, fourth leads, and you paid for the anonymous traffic. Yet, you abandon them all. You pretend they're not even there. In fact, you may not even be paying attention to them. Now, if you're listening to this, you'll know that they're there. But you're getting no value whatsoever from all of those signals that you paid for, and you're missing deals that your sales team could compete for. So, to recap, if some of your revenue comes from very small deals with one or two people in the buying committee, go for a double funnel if you want to. But if you're tempted to do the double funnel because your ABM practice is just part of your business and you want to stick with the old familiar, I beg you not to. If you are still running a leads-based funnel for part of your pipeline production a couple of years from now, you're going to find it very, very difficult to compete. It is extremely important to recognize this. For most of you, even the enterprise, the commercial markets, the smaller markets, your buying team is 5, 7, 10 people, even for those small ones. They all give off signals. Seeing all of those signals in one place is the way to drive productivity. The double funnel will prevent you from being effective in that part of the market. The double funnel will also give you two sets of accounting practices, which makes things difficult to understand. It's much simpler and much more effective to have one set of accounting practices. What we're looking for are buying groups that represent an opportunity. And when we find one of those, we want to recognize it. All right, so next time we're going to dive into some of the research that we're doing at 6th Sense, and it looks at the kinds of buying signals that B2B organizations use. We'll look at what the marketers who responded to our recent survey have said about form fill rates, buying group sizes, and which signals, intent, leads, those kinds of things they like, they use, and what they don't like as well. Thanks very much for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. Have a good week.